Hi, this is Dr. Cindy Banyai, Democratic candidate for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida 19, and this is Perspective on Lead Pits Live. This segment, we're going to be talking about how your federal dollars are working for you. People living in America pay taxes. We pay sales tax to local and state governments, and everyone can agree that paying taxes is a drag. But it is important that everyone, including the wealthy and large companies, pay their fair share into our economic system. We can think of taxes as shares in our economy. The more we benefit, the more we should pay in. We need everyone to pay their fair share because it creates relational value in our economy, and because if people do not see the system as fair, they will stop playing altogether. And this will cause our economy to come to a grinding halt. You pay your taxes, and you deserve a government that works for you. This episode will focus on our government and public funds. Politicians take credit for things that are popular, even if they fought against them in the process. Let's see how Southwest Florida is benefiting from the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure bill, both part of Joe Biden's Build Back Better framework, in terms of the public funds that are coming our way. Let's take a look first at the American Rescue Plan. This plan passed Congress in March 2021 and was signed by President Joe Biden. No Southwest Florida congressional representatives voted for the plan, and no Florida senators supported it either. This was the second economic stimulus for our COVID recovery. It included direct stimulus checks to you and me to the tune of $1,400 for each member of our family. It included the child tax credit advance payment of about $2,000 to $3,600 for each child. This has been paid monthly to parents and guardians and has been really important to help end child poverty across the United States. These payments that we have been receiving monthly will end in December 2021 unless Congress acts now. Additionally, unemployment payments of $300 additional per week was granted to those who had filed for unemployment through the American Rescue Plan, and it also lowered the insurance premiums for those who bought plans through the marketplace, Obamacare plans. These direct payments from the American Rescue Plan benefited American families and helped them meet their needs during this pandemic. But on top of those direct payments, there was also payments and allocations to small governments, including Lee County. Lee County was allocated $1,149,675,549 from the American Rescue Plan. And this was to support their local functions. And this, unfortunately, was opposed by our current sitting representative, Byron Donalds. But good for us, we have the benefit for them nonetheless. So these funds that are coming, over $149 million to Lee County, are used to help support public health, economic loss, services that were impacted in communities, premiums to pay essential workers, infrastructure investments in water and broadband, revenue loss and government projects, and administrative expenses. The Lee County Board of Commissions are the ones that ultimately decided and will decide where this money will be allocated. So far, they've decided to give $20 million to the United Way to grant to local nonprofits, $1.8 million for 20 new EMS positions, something that was significantly stressed during the COVID-19 pandemic. And the draft plan also includes allocations such as $18 million for public health spending overall, including money for vaccines, testing, workers' compensation, and $12 million for increased mental health services, $17.5 million to address the negative economic impacts, including money for food distribution, job training, small business and rental assistance, and tourism and hospitality industry. $4.6 million is planned to be allocated for children's support programs, $1.8 million for those experiencing homelessness, and $25.1 million for drinking water systems improvements, including Pine Manor and the North Lee County Treatment Center, something that affects everybody who opens a tap in our community. There was $16.1 million suggested to improve the stormwater processing for our clean environment, $4.5 million for administrative costs, and still $42 million remains on the table to be spent by the county by 2026. These funds will directly improve the lives of people here in Southwest Florida, and they came here because President Joe Biden and congressional Democrats voted to invest in us. Don't be fooled by state and local politicians who take credit for these funds. Don't get caught up in the discussions about total cost at the federal level. The American economy is robust and benefits from strategic investments just like these. Our budget reflects our values, so let's keep prioritizing people. Now let's take a look at the Build Back Better infrastructure and the bipartisan infrastructure deal. The Build Back Better plan was Joe Biden's signature investment plan for the American economy. It is planned to help meet climate change goals, create millions of good-paying jobs, and grow the economy by focusing on the middle class. It was passed by the House of Representatives in November without any support from Southwest Florida representatives. It is still waiting on the Senate to pass a version and ultimately will go into a whole nother round of voting in both the House and the Senate once a compromise bill is put forward. But what has already been passed is the bipartisan infrastructure deal that is part of that Build Back Better framework. This will rebuild roads, bridges, ports, rails, and airports, provide for clean drinking water, internet access, address climate change and environmental justice, and invest in communities. Truly an investment in infrastructure. Florida is set to receive $19.1 billion from the bipartisan infrastructure bill. This includes $13.1 billion for roads, $245 million for bridges, $2.6 billion to improve public transportation, $198 million to expand public electric vehicle charging stations, $100 million for internet coverage, $26 million to protect against fires, $29 million to protect against cyber attacks, $1.6 billion to improve drinking water infrastructure, and $1.2 billion to improve airports. A significant investment in Florida's infrastructure. And there will be even more support coming to the people of Southwest Florida when the budget components of the Build Back Better framework pass Congress. So far, in addition to the bipartisan infrastructure bill that has allocated $19.1 billion to Florida, there's plans for childcare, universal pre-K, elder care, and support for people with disabilities, and making the child tax credit permanent. That's that monthly check that we've been receiving through 2021 that helps with people who have children. This will support families directly. Additionally, in the Build Back Better framework, there will be investments in wind and solar and clean energy, which will ultimately create more good jobs. Environmental justice will be prioritized to clean up projects in previously neglected areas, as well as investments in coastal restoration and climate change protections, which will help us here in Southwest Florida overcome some of the damaging results of increased intensity hurricanes and climate change related events. There are also investments in the Build Back Better plan for healthcare, reducing prescription drug costs, reducing Obamacare premiums, higher education, food security, and investments in immigration reform. Affordable housing investments are important as well, including the earned income tax credit, expanded access to higher education, food security, and investments in immigration reform. We also need to close the Medicare gap and Medicaid gap and improve Medicaid hearing coverage. These are going to be paid for by repealing Trump's tax rebate for the wealthy and corporations, taxing stock buybacks, which ultimately make CEOs richer at the hands of workers and companies that have gone bankrupt, and invest in pursuing wealthy tax evaders in the IRS, and taxing the wealthy at a fair rate. The American Rescue Plan has been working through 2021 to help families get by and will continue to work for Southwest Florida through the $149 million investment now being allocated by our local government. These investments come to you from Joe Biden and congressional Democrats, not any Republican politician or local government official that may try to claim them. We have much to look forward to with the bipartisan infrastructure deal too, as well as other investments from Biden's Build Back Better framework. I'm glad President Biden and Democrats think my family and my community are worth investing in. Don't you? This has been Dr. Cindy Banyai with Perspective, and now back to Lee Pitts Live. I'm Dr. Cindy Banyai, Democratic candidate for U.S. House of Representatives, Florida Congressional District 19. I'm a teacher and small business owner. I'm fighting for the things we need: clean water, good health, and good jobs. I'm here with you and for you. Let's create a Southwest Florida where the sun shines on everyone. Send me to Congress to work for you. Check your voter registration and vote for me, Dr. Cindy Banyai. I'm Cindy Banyai and I approve this message.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.
Hello everybody, this is Lee. I'm so glad that you watched that particular show, and if you enjoyed that show, we got other shows like that. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel, watch Lee Pitts Live on demand anytime, and also hit us up on all our social media platforms. Just type in Lee Pitts Live and there you go.